And welcome to episode 68, I think this is, of the Odyssey Hour. Back at our regular time, since last week we didn't start till 8:30, which was something that I was going to bring because last week, I don't know how Facebook does things. I despise Facebook. I don't really care how they do things. Yeah. But for the first time in 67 episodes of doing this, starting at 8:30, even I got a notification saying that we were live for the first time. I never gotten one of those before. And I think a lot of people, more people did. I don't know if that's because it's no longer like mainstream time or whatever, main prime time or what, I don't know. But I found it odd and slightly irritating that that I guess one out of every 67 or 68 episodes or whatever, I'll get notified that we're live. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I was like, maybe we should move it to 8:30.
I usually get them every week.
You do? Okay. Well, then barely Facebook hates me.
Well,
shocker.
Let's see if I got one this time. No, I didn't.
Well, sometimes it takes a couple seconds.
There we go.
Okay, so maybe it's just, obviously, it's just me then. Facebook doesn't want to alert me that I'm live. So, I don't know. So, all right, never mind. We'll stick with how it is now. I guess who would like to go first, or is it, how is everybody?
Oh, tired but good.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I've been home all week from work because, obviously, you guys know I got a notification from work that I got exposed to COVID, and they weren't going to allow me to come back to work until tomorrow. So
I thought you were negative, though.
I was negative, but I still, I think if you test positive, it increases your COVID exclusion. But if you test negative, they shorten it to like 3 days or something. I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. I would like to get paid, but but I'm returning to work tomorrow, which should be good. But my topic ties into this because, my topic is, can ghosts get COVID? No, that's not my.
It wasn't. It didn't even. Topic. It didn't even come to my mind.
So I walked down to CVS today because we have a CVS literally like 200 feet from our apartment because I needed to fill a prescription. And they said they'd have it ready in like 5 to 10 minutes. So I was just walking around CVS and they have the magazine section, and Time Magazine had a special issue called The Most Haunted Places in the World. So I was flipping through it and stuff like that. And of course they had to make it as spooky as possible. Like they had the spooky font and black and white photos and shit like that. So I was trying to, and obviously it was a paid issue. So I was trying to find the article online that maybe I could just pay a couple bucks to have access to it, but I couldn't find that. But I did find an alternate list that they had from another issue of the top 10 haunted places. And this is, I guess, technically international because there is two. Looks like there's 2 international locations on here. So I thought I would share this list with everybody, and we can give Time Magazine a rating on how well they've done it. And spoiler alert, I think they actually did a pretty good job. So, okay. So this is probably going to go quick, but I think it's interesting nonetheless. So the first one they have listed is the Amityville house, which...
Nope. You already lost it. I don't know how you think that they did a good job. The number 1 is the Amityville house.
That's number 10, right? Or is that number 1?
It's not in a particular order.
Oh.
It's not in a particular order. There's just like a list on here. Number 2 is Eastern State Penitentiary, which I agree with. Okay. That's a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is Edinburgh Castle, which I can believe. Obviously, I've never been there, but I'm sure GHI has been there. Mm-hmm. Oh, you've been there?
I've been there. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, every other room that we went through in the tour was, this ghost is in this room, this ghost is in this room, but I didn't see any.
Didn't feel anything either?
No, not at that time. But
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And Castle.
Number 4 is Gettysburg Battlefield, which I've heard lots of good things about. That would be amazing to be able to investigate one of the battlefields. Cool. Just walk around.
I don't know if they allow that or not. I mean, I know Gettysburg, there's a lot of places in Gettysburg that they allow you to investigate. I'm not sure about the battlefields, though. I think like you can get around the perimeter of it, and that's probably good enough because you can hear cannons and horses and men screaming and from all over town, I think.
Yeah, I've always heard that people like investigate locations that are in the little towns that are next to Gettysburg. But yeah. The next one is Myrtle's Plantation.
Knew that was on
which,
there, yeah.
Obviously. The Queen Mary. And the next one is the Tower of London, which seems pretty out of place, but I guess I could see
investigated it.
I don't know. I doubt anybody. I doubt the British government would let anybody into the Tower of London to investigate.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like I understand Myrtle's has been like every place that has been on there so far, maybe except Edinburgh, although I'm sure somebody's been allowed in, probably has some sort of documentation beyond just the stories to back it up.
Like people that have gone in there and investigated.
Well, right. Or even tour guides have gotten EVPs, or they have something on surveillance cameras or something along those lines that back up the haunting besides just the stories and the claim. The Tower of London, I find that hard to believe that they would have anything to back that up.
Well, British government, if you want a trusted team to go into your historical location, you can always call on us.
Yes.
To give you honest answers.
Exactly. And you can use taxpayer money to ship us over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Put us up in a hotel. 4 stars or better. You know.
Yes. We expect no less than a 4-star hotel.
We can't investigate uncomfortable. I mean, we have to be well rested.
We do.
And relax.
Also, I need a jacuzzi in my room. That's also necessary for my pre-investigation routine.
Ritual.
I need a bubble bath.
Why would you say it like that?
That's a reference to Big Mouth. Even though I don't like that show. There's that one clip in Big Mouth that I like. Anyway, so the next one is the Whaley House, which I've heard very mixed reviews on the Whaley House.
That's out in California, right?
I was gonna say, where is that?
I think it's out in California. Yeah. There was some place I was looking into, and I can't remember what it was. And somebody was like, "Yeah, it's like right down the street from the Whaley House. Have you ever heard of the Whaley House?" And I'm like, "No." So I mean, I looked it up, but yeah. So apparently, it's got some pretty good stories and evidence behind it.
Yeah, I think it has some documented murders. I think one of the people that worked in the Whaley house or somebody around the Whaley family like hung themselves in a tree in the backyard or something like that. It has some interesting history, but like I said, it's not one of the most well-known locations if many people haven't heard of it, but
Surprised it's on the list.
Well, that's what, and that's what gets me. Like, I get the fact that it's haunted, but on a list of the world's most haunted, no.
Maybe this person who wrote it is from San Diego and is has a bias.
Maybe.
I mean, this list definitely is very biased towards the U.S. in general.
Yeah.
Considering there are
2
international locations and 8 U.S. locations.
Okay. Next.
The next one is the White House. Which, like, yeah, sure. But nobody knows that, obviously. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have worked in the White House that probably have stories about the White House, but I doubt anybody, unless they build a new residence for the president to live in, and also the executive staff, nobody's going to be able to investigate the White House.
I bet Joey B would let us in.
Yeah. Let's send Joey B a letter. It's saying, "Can we investigate the White House?" Everybody just leaves for a night.
Yeah.
You know, you can get put up in a hotel and we'll just investigate it.
Yeah, sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, he's done some overseas trip, you know.
Yeah.
Let us
You
in.
can go smooth things over in different parts of the world, and we'll hold down the fort here.
You know, it's actually.
Well, there's this.
Go ahead, Scott.
There's a story that Winston Churchill, in the 1940s, was staying at the White House for a couple of days, and he was staying in Abraham Lincoln's bedroom, and he saw the ghost of Lincoln in there. Says he was buck naked and turned around, and there was Lincoln standing there.
Yeah, and his response to that was like something along the lines of, "I beg your pardon, Mr. President. You appear to have me at a disadvantage."
Yeah.
Winston Churchill was always shit-faced drunk, though, too. So I don't know how much I trust that story.
I don't know, but yeah, apparently he got out of the bath or something like that for the night and came out of the bathroom butt naked, and the president, and he saw Lincoln sitting on the chair in front of the fire.
What a fucking creep.
Well, it's not like he was there to spy on him.
Or maybe he was.
So instead of Honest Abe, it's Peepin' Abe.
Yeah, it's Peepin' Abe. Exactly.
I don't think that's ever going to catch on. So
the last one on the list is the Winchester House, which I've heard things about. I don't know. That's the same Winchester as like Winchester firearms, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the whole point of the house, was that she was told, the wife of the guy who invented the Winchester was told by a psychic that she was going to be haunted by all the spirits that the rifles had killed, unless
adding on to the house
continually was in construction of the house.
See, I just find that fascinating. I find the whole thing about constantly adding on to the house and those staircases and doors that lead to nowhere is just fat. I want to go there so bad.
Well, I mean, they do tours and everything. Yeah.
I don't really think I'd be interested in investigating it, because I actually don't think I've heard many paranormal related things coming out of there. It's just a fascinating place. and what would drive a person to do that, just because they listen to a psychic. There's some strange things going on there.
There was, especially Dave and I did a thing on the Winchester house, and we got a whole bunch of like statistics and stuff. And it's like 40 bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable, some of the stuff that they added to this thing. And most of the toilets don't even work. They're not even hooked up. They're just there.
Yeah.
But they have a seance room or whatever, where Sarah Winchester, I believe that's her name, would communicate with the spirits of like the house and whatnot. And it doesn't really seem like she was all that terrified of them if she was communicating with them like almost nightly. So yeah, I don't know. There's something missing there. Some piece of information that I don't know if it will ever come to light as to what exactly all was going on. But
I don't know. Maybe it was her way of coping with being a widow and also enormous wealth, that she was just like, I'm just going to keep adding on to the house. Keep me busy. Yeah.
So I definitely think that this list is based on stories and conjecture, which I think a lot of these lists are. Because I can probably list off the top of my head probably 6 different places that have more claims, evidence, and stories behind it than the Whaley house, or the Amityville house. Like, what about St. Augustine Lighthouse?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Lemp Castle? I would even take that over Edinburgh Castle. These lists bother me, and that's why, because I don't get their criteria that they use.
It's very subjective.
Yes. Yes, it is. What about the Hellfire Caves?
Yeah.
That's going to be way over probably half the things on that list, but yet it didn't make it. What's the Catacombs of Paris? That should be on there. It's an interesting list. There's some of them I do agree. Eastern State, absolutely. Myrtle's Plantation, I think, should be on there. I'm not sure about the Queen Mary. I know that just has a F ton of stories behind it.
Yeah, the Queen Mary is more of like a pop culture sort of. Everybody knows about the Queen Mary. Everybody knows there's ghost stories in the Queen Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely investigate. I would investigate all those places, but whether they're the most haunted in the world, I don't know about that.
I would have put the Stanley Hotel over the Queen Mary, but
there's that too. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, I'm surprised the Stanley Hotel isn't on here. Actually,
it's a terrible list. Sorry, Stan. I can't agree with you. I think that's a terrible list. Probably not even half of it is accurate of what probably should be on.
I would call it good for like a pop culture magazine, if anything.
True, but this is time though. You would think that the quality and like just the reputation of making sure that shit is right and properly done would bleed over into that, but apparently not. Time must be anti-paranormal. Boo to Time.
Yes.
Speaking of time, segue.
Yay.
I'll go next unless somebody wants.
No, it's a good segue.
Okay. You like that segue?
Don't
get that very often. Okay, so I posted this obviously to you guys earlier. And disclaimer, I stole this from Dave. So I know. But I thought it was good because he asked it on the Odyssey Files, and I had answered it, and I've since revamped my answers. But I thought it was a great question to ask you guys. So here it is. Hypothetical situation. Time travel is real, is realized. Except they can't physically send your body anywhere. All they can do is send your consciousness. And so, which I think probably could be done, because that's just energy, just, like a spirit or whatever. And, energy is timeless. You can send it forward, backwards, and do whatever. So, I mean, I think if they could find a way to separate your consciousness from your body and send that back in time and then be able to put it back in when you're back, time travel could actually be possible. But because of this, nobody knows you're there. You're not able to interact with anything. You're not able to talk to anyone. All you can do is observe, which means there's no butterfly effect. You can't change the timeline whatsoever. What 3 historical events would you like to go back and observe?
Well, I can go, but I will have to say that some of mine aren't necessarily maybe like big historical events.
They don't necessarily have to be big. They just have to be important to you.
That's what matters. Okay. I think the first one I thought of is a pretty simple one. I would just really like to go back and see kind of like what my hometown or like what St. Paul looked like pre sort of human civilization. I've always been curious to know, like, what did my backyard that I grew up in look like before people moved there? Like, was it just a forest? Because, I mean, there's some trees there. Was it a plain? Like, I guess that's always something that I've kind of been interested to see. And obviously it's impossible. But, it'd be interesting to see, like, and maybe when I see pre-human civilization, I mostly mean, like, pre the white man, if you will. So it'd be interesting to know, like, since I grew up near Shakopee and the Native American reservations there, like, do I live in a place that was once a land they lived more on? So that's something I've always been interested in. My second one is whenever I go to like a museum and they have dinosaurs and they always talk about how dinosaurs could have had feathers, I'm dying to know if that's true or not. So I want to go see if dinosaurs have feathers. I want to see like what happened when they really all died. If it was like the,
you want to see the comet. Yeah.
I want to see it. And I want to see the dinosaurs.
You want to see the dinosaurs get vaporized. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if that's what happened, maybe it was aliens. Who knows? And then my third one is I just think it would be cool to go back to like a speakeasy in the 1920s. And just see prime like jazz age, see some jazz music, I just think it's a really interesting period in American history that I have always been very fascinated by and would like to kind of go back and see what that was like. So nice. That's my 3.
Okay, don't everybody else go.
Okay.
Scott, you can go next if you want.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll mention that shamans believe they can actually do that in their shamanic journeying, that they can send their spirit into the past or even into the future and see things and actually see things. If I could do that, being with my religious background, a couple of them would be religious things. Like I would want to go to see the resurrection of Jesus, see that happen. Another would be to go back 3,000 years ago. And there's a story in the 2nd book of Kings in the Old Testament that the prophet Elijah never died. He and his apprentice Elisha were walking and talking, and Elijah was saying, well, it's time for me to go. And Elisha was going, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, this fiery chariot pulled by a fiery horse, came down out of heaven. Elijah got onto the chariot, and it took him body and soul into heaven. He and Enoch were the only people who never died. They were taken, their bodies were taken into heaven. But I would like to see that and find out if that story has actually happened or was somehow, myth, The other thing that I would like to see would be the Big Bang, where everything started. To look back on that and see just what it looked like when everything came out of just suddenly appeared.
I would wonder if that is like the one thing you couldn't witness. I mean, because wouldn't that be
There's
really
no time
considered
before that.
like the dawn of time?
Yeah. There's no time before the Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
in theory, obviously.
So I mean, I guess if anything, you'd be able to be there like 1 second after that. But I don't know if you could actually.
Maybe we are 1 second after that. Who knows?
Well, I know when Neil deGrasse Tyson redid the Cosmos show, he was constantly talking about how like the last million years was like December 31st in the cosmic calendar of everything, which I thought was actually really cool. But
every time I learn about space shit, it just fucks me up. Like it's like these people are way smarter than anybody I've ever known, and thinking about time in context of gravity I hate it. I hate thinking about that. I don't want to think about it. There's too many stupid, problems here on Earth to worry about, okay?
That's fair.
But it is fascinating as hell. I get existential dread and also fascination from it.
That's fair. I guess I just love Tyson's ability of taking these complex things that you would have absolutely no way of knowing.
Oh, there's Lola.
Yeah, she's in my bed. There's her butt. Hi.
Yeah. Apparently. But just making it like actually understandable. Like he can explain this stuff.
He's a very good science communicator. That's for sure.
Yes, he is. So Sam, did you want to go next?
Yeah, immediately, because I'm a history nerd and I'm kind of an American history nerd, I wanted to go back to the inauguration of George Washington and witness that, because I want to see how different that was, and also how different the political structure was then, because obviously this country has come a long way since 1780, when he was, no, I think it was until the 1790s. I don't remember when he was inaugurated, but yeah, I think that would be cool. I'd want to go somewhere in the Wild West, I think, and see what that was actually like, because it's hard to picture American society being as lawless as it was, and people literally just going to big open plots of land and having to fend for themselves because transportation hadn't caught up yet. So the federal government literally couldn't do anything about anything. So I think that would be fascinating. And for my third one, damn, I don't know. I had a hard time thinking about my third one. Something like the pyramids of Giza being finished or something like that, like a big landmark in history, or the Library of Alexandria or something like that. Some big landmark. I want to see it when it was first done, and like perfect and finished. I think that would be really cool.
Gotcha. Boy, you guys are stealing mine. Can you get that cat out of there?
What, you don't like cat ass?
I don't like cat, period.
I know that. That's not what I asked.
She's a little shit.
She is.
Apparently. This time almost
showing
literally.
everyone your shitter. Yeah.
That's gross.
My 3, number 1, like Scott, I would probably go back and see the resurrection of Jesus. Number 2, like Sam, I would like to go back and see the Great Pyramids being built, and exactly how were they built. Were they built by man? Were they built by aliens?
They weren't built by aliens. Oh my God.
I'm just
fight
saying.
you.
Sleeves.
You'll fight me? Is that what you said?
I will.
You got a postal stamp. But yeah, I would like to go back and put that to rest and watch them be built.
Yeah, it would be nice to know for sure. Anything about history where you could go back and know, I looked at them doing this, I know for sure 100% this is the way it was done. That's always good.
Yes, absolutely. And the third one, which I guess you would have to know what it is in order to understand, which I believe everybody does, is I would like to go back and see the Oak Island treasure being put.
Oh.
Where is it? What is it? How long did it take them to actually build that? Was it the Knights Templar? There's so much mystery surrounding that whole thing that.
Are they still looking for that? Are the same people still like excavating that site?
I mean, they have to. They find more and more and more and more and more stuff every year, but they're still doing it. I have like 6 or 7 more episodes of this season to go. Dave says it's interesting, but I mean, they're not just, and I don't even think they can, but they're not just digging the whole thing up. You know, they have to do it in a certain way. They have to get permits. They have to have like an archaeological dig, and you know as well as I do that takes a lot of time. But they have found evidence buried down deep in what, obviously they call the money pit of gold and silver particulate. So I mean, they have the scientific evidence that says there's something down there. I think they pulled up boot that might have might have belonged to FDR, because he was, before he became president, he was one of the people who did an excavation out there. I think it was like 1906 or something like that. But yeah, they're finding more and more stuff. I don't know how this season ends. Nobody tells me.
What is the show called?
The Curse of Oak Island. God damn, I was think of it.
I might be interested in watching that. That might be a good mindless show to watch.
But they're on season 10 or something like that. So I mean, you have to go.
I'll just watch the most recent one.
Most recent,
probably.
I would probably do the last 2, but it's interesting. I mean, it's very historical. They're finding shit on that thing that dates back to the 1400s and stuff like that. It's crazy, but I would like to go back and see exactly what happened on that island, back in the 1600s or 1700s. So yeah, those are my 3.
But something else that I would like to do is not to see from beginning to end, but to go back and witness all my previous incarnations, every lifetime I've had. Now, to find out who I was and what I was doing. Just interests me.
Well, why can't you just do like past life regression therapy or whatever?
I've done some of that, but to go and actually see somebody and have that done costs a lot of money.
Well, that's true. But I'm assuming going back in time probably will cost a pretty penny as well. I don't think you can make a homemade time machine on that one, no matter what the Doritos commercial says.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I do think, though, and that would honestly explain why nobody has ever really come across a time traveler. I mean, if they're unable to actually interact or be noticed or at all, we would never know they're here. There'd be somebody right behind me. I don't know why they would choose this moment, but I don't think any huge historical event is about to happen during the show, but you never know. But yeah. So I don't know. It was an interesting question. I wanted to see what you guys and you didn't disappoint. There was some really good choices. Well, Scott's was pretty predictable for the obviously for the religious.
No, if I could go back and see that and see what really happened, that would be really fucking cool.
Yeah. Dinosaurs did enter during my original thing. I thought that seeing the comet hit would be kind of cool and know that you're not going to die.
Right.
So
I more just want to know for sure what they look like, because I think it would just be hilarious if we've been completely wrong. You know?
I think it's entirely possible.
It is. Like, we know that they're reptiles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they look like today's reptiles. So.
Very true.
Right, Lola?
No. Yeah, you can stop.
Head
that.
empty. Lola's the new co-host of the show.
Yeah.
No.
You have anything to say?
Nope. Just like always.
She wants to go back and
enough with the kid.
Yeah. Kat wants to go back and
where would you go back?
To the Egyptian days when cats were worshipped as gods.
Yes,
there you
exactly.
Go.
They've never forgotten that.
I think that is a falsehood created by cats.
She
Big
is
cat.
A high goddess reincarnated, I think. From Egyptian.
Yeah, she is. She is.
She is.
That would explain how useless they are.
She gives me a lot of emotional support, so I think she's very useful.
Okay, I'm not even. Nope. Okay, agree to disagree on that one. Haley, did you want to go, or Scott? Did you have one for today?
I can go unless Scott really wants to.
Go ahead, Haley.
Okay. I don't know if we've talked about this, but what would you consider to be the most frustrating part of being an investigator?
That's a good question.
That's easy for me to answer.
I mean, I have a feeling I might be taking Mike's answer, but I would say the most frustrating part is dealing with people that either think they know what they're talking about or have deluded themselves into thinking they know everything about everything. This goes from like clients to people we investigate with on like events to like owners of places. It's probably the most frustrating part is coming across people that are narrow-minded in terms of what they think is real and not, but also, clients and stuff that can be really difficult is very frustrating, especially when they call you in as an expert to do something, and then if they don't like what you have to say, they disregard what you have to say or keep on believing the thing that they were believing, even though there's no evidence to back it up. So that's probably what I find the most frustrating.
That's me too. That was my answer, but I'll add to that the people who we come in and we come into their home or whatever and do a cleansing and work with them, and then they go back and do the same dumb, idiotic shit they were doing before. Yeah. Or bring in somebody else to do another thing and screw everything up that we did.
Oh, the case that we don't talk about.
that one and a couple others too. Yeah.
Yes.
That's my answer.
So those are frustrating, yes, but they are not what my answer would be. So my answer is going to be a little different because I deal with a lot more of the background stuff than you guys do. So I deal with the clients, I deal with setting everything up, I deal with bringing it all together. There's two things that frustrates me the most. The first one being logistics. Trying to find a date that works for everybody, trying to make sure everybody's on the same page, and when they're not, that gets frustrating, especially if it's only, the next day or even the afternoon of an investigation. And even though like all the information has been put out to everybody, somehow it gets forgotten or scrambled or misunderstood. And
Jurassic Park.
all this time, you still haven't learned to put that on silent. But anyways, the second frustrating part, and this hasn't happened in a very, very long time. So, but it has happened, and it frustrates the hell out of me, is when my investigators get, and then by like association, my team gets held hostage by a significant other. Or they get, because I have literally had an investigator on my team. Like I said, it hasn't happened in a long time. It hasn't happened with any of you. And I'm so thankful for that. But I have had a new investigator on my team, like 40 years old, but her husband would not let her go on an investigation until he met me, like in person. She's 40 fucking years old.
Yikes.
And I'm like,
that's bad.
Yeah. And like, I wasn't told until like 3 hours before an investigation. And this has happened many, many times. It's why I asked any new investigators to come on. I asked Lauren when she was coming. I'm like, do you have any significant others? And if so, do they know what you're doing? Do they support that? Because it will probably change very quickly. And it typically does. So, I mean, again, so thankful for all of you that has not come up in a long time. But when I put a plan, and this is again logistics, so it also actually like merges in with each other. When I put together a plan and I'm told somebody's going to be there, and then all of a sudden they can't be because their significant other doesn't feel they're spending enough time with them, or doesn't want them going out that night for whatever reason. And my team and my plan and my investigation are held hostage by somebody who has nothing to do with what we are doing. That's frustrating, and it was back then. So those are my end. I would probably just say logistics and everything associated with it. Obviously, that also includes clients canceling at the last second, which has happened recently. So,
or basically no call, no showing,
and that too,
making it seem like they're going to be there, and we drive hours out of our way to be there, and then they don't answer the door.
Yeah, or really they're not home, or whatever. Yeah, that's frustrating.
For example.
Not that that's ever happened.
No, never has happened to us.
It's the price you pay for trying to help people that you really don't know. I still would do it every day. I will take every frustration that comes with it in order to help whoever we can help. So, yeah, good question, Haley. I guess we don't really talk about the bad side of what we do, or really give the behind the scenes, so to speak, of what we have to go through with certain people. I know I told you this, but you guys this before when we were talking about this most recent cancellation or whatever. But I mean, I've had a client cancel on me 3 times in a row, like hours before the investigation. So when you get your entire team ready to go and you're like, okay, this is the time we're going to meet, this is the time we're going to do it. And then 3 times in a row, you're like, they just canceled. It's like, what do you do? What do you say to your team at that point in time when they put their lives on hold to help a person and you can't get them there? That's frustrating to me.
Well, we don't ever blame you in those situations, Mike. Jeez.
Well,
my words are not coming out super good today.
It's quite all right. It's been a long day.
Yes.
But when that happened the last time, holy crap. I was freaking out because I'm like, you guys don't have a lot of time, extra time on your hands. And so when I tell you we're going to have an investigation this night, I better effing have an investigation for you guys. And when I don't, I'm upset. So thank you for not blaming me.
I don't. It's never crossed my mind to be upset that you don't have something set up, because it's not like you would never plan it to fail. So
no, I never planned anything to fail. But I pride myself, though, on being able to adjust to such things. I almost had it, though.
It is nice now that we have 2 locations, which I will not name, that we can go to basically whenever we want. So we have built-in fail safes now.
Yeah.
Everybody clears their schedule for an investigation. It's like, well, it was canceled. Let's go to X, and we can just go. And they're very cool locations to be. So.
At least one is. You guys don't know about. You guys haven't been to the other one yet.
Yeah.
But we'll get there probably next month. But So Scott.
I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
Actually,
go ahead.
I didn't truly answer the question.
You're right. You didn't. I'm so sorry about that. Yes, you are correct.
It's
you
okay.
didn't get to answer yours.
That's okay. I mean, my answer isn't too much more different than just dealing with stupid people. Or I think the thing in particular that frustrates me is people who just have like zero skepticism and will believe any orb they see, believe
That's
like,
the worst.
oh, it's a mist, and it's like there's nothing in that picture. And that's what really frustrates me, because I never know what to say, because it's like I don't want to like be like, hey, I don't see shit here, because I don't want to ever, offend someone. But that's what frustrates me more than anything, I think, is people who just are willing to believe anything at all.
Also, people who are like jumping and like screaming at everything that happens, it fucking bothers me so much. It's like, why are you doing this if you're afraid of it?
Right.
Like, it's just masochism at this point. Like, I'm convinced you're just doing it for some twisted pleasure, not because you actually care about it. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, or to add to that little thing, one that wants to believe so hard that they will take anything that is absolutely not paranormal and make it paranormal.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we're still Facebook friends or not. I don't really get on Facebook anymore, except to pretty much to do this. And she posted a photo of her German Shepherd, but it was like staring out a screen window. So it was like, the blurriness of it or whatever. But you could tell it was a German Shepherd. And she posted it specifically just to see what people would say. And all she said about it was,
I remember this.
Yeah, what do you guys see in this photo? Half the people out there said it was a horned demon. And after like the 6th or 7th person who thought it was a demon, she was like, guys, this is my dog staring out a window. and that's exactly what it looked like to me. I'm like, I looked at it, I saw it, I didn't comment on it, but I was like, that's your dog staring out of a screen door. Those, I agree. Those are frustrating.
Yeah.
But you learn to just let them have their opinion.
Right.
If they ask you for yours, give it all you want. But otherwise, I just laugh and move on with life, because it is so not, you can't argue with the crazy.
Or with stupid.
Yeah. Stupidity,
Stupid
craziness.
Is stupid
Like
does.
if you when you take a photo and you do this with your hand, that's probably why it looks blurry. It's probably not a ghost, and you just don't know how to hold your phone when you take a picture.
Yeah. Or your shutter
Also,
speed is not correct.
I'm sorry, orbs do not, pieces of dust on your fucking photo do not impress me at all.
No.
Orbs don't impress me at all.
It's be a really special one.
It's got to be a really special one.
Yeah, there's been once or twice where somebody told me that every orb you see is a spirit moving in the place, and it's like, how can I believe that? I mean,
I've been told that too, and I'm like, no. In fact, I think there was a video caught on camera from a prison, and it was like this blast of air, and like all of these, they called them orbs, and they're like, these people, it must be the cell, the prison people coming back from lunch or something along those lines, because it just filled up with all these dust orbs. And I think I actually asked Susan about that clip, and I'm like, it was just dust. I'm like, why would you even show that? And the answer is always the same. It's not their job to debunk anything. They just comment on it.
Damn.
Maybe that's the most frustrating thing to me. TV's influence over the paranormal and how people look at it. Maybe that's the most frustrating to me right now. As an investigator in this field.
You see that Ghost Adventures is taking house calls now?
No, because I don't give a shit what the fuck Ghost Adventures does.
Yeah, they're starting a new series where they do home investigations.
Oh boy.
I bet you every single one of them will be a demon.
Yep. So it's like, there's a dark energy in this house.
God, please no. I actually, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I know that I had the book that I was going to write with Joel that I sent you guys the first chapter of. But I actually had started writing one like a year or two prior to that. And it was literally going to be called Please No More Ghost Adventures. Was going to be the title of the book. Never got after the first chapter because it was literally just a bashing of everything that I hated about the paranormal on TV at that time.
Sometimes you just got to rant about it.
And then that's really what it was. I sent it to my friend.
It'd be a good article.
Yeah.
An article?
Yeah. Like an opinion article.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would probably be put in time.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be factually sound. But yeah. So Scott, you want to go with the last one? We still got a few minutes left.
Okay. I don't really like the question, but and I don't remember where I got it from, but just to fill in the last couple of minutes. The question is, when you were growing up, was there anything around where you lived, any kind of urban legend that you truly believed in? A local urban legend.
I can answer that right away. No.
Okay.
There was it wasn't around where I grew up, but it was where one of our family cabin in central Wisconsin, there was a red house at the end of the road, like the road that would go into the development around the lake that the cabin was on. And apparently the people who lived in that house died when I was pretty young. And there was a light bulb in there that is just on all the time. Like that light bulb never turns off. And it seems like that light bulb had been, people around the lake were saying that the light bulb had been, working for years and years and years, and nobody had ever seen it off. So that was kind of the urban legend that there was like something keeping the light bulb going or something like that. And like we'd walk past it and you'd see that the light was turned on. No other lights in the house were turned on. It was just that one light bulb. For years and years and years, it never turned off. And finally, I think a couple years ago, it turned off and nobody's seen a light in there since. But that was kind of the, haunted tale, and all the like kids around the lake would walk there and try to get close to the house. And of course, everybody would be scared and shit. It's kind of the closest thing we had to like an urban legend / like haunted story.
I don't remember having any really, besides maybe things my friends and I would make up, but and in those I don't remember either. So
I didn't even know what the paranormal was until I got into high school. So, I mean, there was no ghost hunters. There was no, you know, there was nothing. I just happened to come across a book of haunted stories or whatever. I don't even think that it had anything. I think it was either America or it was like worldwide. It was just big old thick ass book of that way back when. So, like, I had never heard of Bigfoot. I had never heard of anything growing up. The only thing that scared the shit out of me was watching like It and stuff like that. I don't even think I saw Poltergeist till like I was in my 20s or something like that. So no, I wouldn't even know what an urban legend was growing up. What about you, Scott?
Well, I can't really remember anything in specific that I believed in. I mean, I remember that there were some of the kids that I grew up with believed in that that thing where you turn out all the lights in the room and stand in front of the mirror and say this person's
Bloody
name
Mary?
over and over again. Yeah, and then they appear to you in the mirror. Now, I knew some people who believed in that and claimed that they actually saw something when they did it. But,
of course they did, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that I can think of. Which surprises me is that I would think that in my hometown, I would think there should be a number of places that were haunted, but I can't remember any stories like that.
What is your hometown?
La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Ah, La Crosse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think there'd be some stuff because it's a pretty old town downtown, probably.
Yeah, it is.
And right along the river.
Yeah. Rivertown.
Yeah. And Native Americans were there long before the town was. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think La Crosse is actually a pretty haunted town. I've never done an investigation there. I've never done an investigation in Wisconsin, which I need to change because I really want to.
Surprising.
It is surprising because my hometown is Eau Claire. So yeah, and obviously we're kind of right along the border. So I mean, doing an investigation in Hudson or Menominee or something like that is well within our range.
Yeah.
But no, I've never done an investigation in. Actually, I don't even think I can say that anymore. Like the very southwestern corner of Wisconsin. Like I think I did an investigation at this old place that I'm going to take you guys to. And I think it's like 5 miles or something like that into Wisconsin, across the Wisconsin-Iowa border. But I'm not counting that as a Wisconsin.
It's a technicality.
Yeah, it's a semantics. So, all right.
Well, there are at least 4 places in La Crosse that today have a reputation for being haunted. And I did write to all 4 of them and to talk about investigating them, as I never got an answer from any of them. So.
Dirty rats. They'll come around. Something will happen. They'll come around. But, all right. Is there anything else?
Nah.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching here tonight, and we'll be back next week, hopefully, with another new episode of the Odyssey Hour. And until then, stay healthy, stay safe.